Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things ready through a common sense lens. And if you haven't heard, right, Nintendo has officially announced their Legend of Zelda live-action movie cast for, of course, Link and Princess Zelda. And as this set the internet on fire, everybody out there getting so excited, checking out who these new actors were, because these are pretty much completely and totally unknowns, which was what a lot of fans were really wanting. We didn't want some big name coming in with a lot of baggage into something like this that represents such a giant part of so many of our fans' childhoods out there. And it's one of them situations where I think a lot of people are super happy with the casting. But as always, boys and girls, there are some freaks out there. There are some spirit of the age people out there that have completely and totally lost their mind because the fantasy, the rumor, the, well, basically nonsense lie that was put out there about Hunter Schafer being cast as Princess Zelda, well, needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, that was just a big PR stunt by their own firm, and it turned out to be completely and totally nonsense garbage, and Nintendo wasn't even considering that person for the role. But this, of course, does not stop all of the weirdos out there who are obsessed with fan fiction and it being the reality of the world actually inside their mind, that, of course, when reality smacks them in the face and they realize that Nintendo will never cast a man to play Princess Zelda, no matter how they look, of course, they're going to lose their minds. And it is always such a beautiful thing to watch the meltdown of the absolute demonically possessed spirit of the age folks out there, because the cult never stops, and it's absolutely hilarious. Because as you can see over here from the headline at thatparkplace.com, gender activists lash out over Hunter Schafer not being cast as Zelda in the live-action Legend of Zelda film. And now, of course, they do have a few screenshots over here, but as our dear sweet boy and friend of the channel, Spartacus, pointed out, Breitbart did an article over this yesterday, and boy, do they have a laundry list of meltdowns, boys and girls. So we're going to check out the article from thatparkplace.com, getting all the juicy details of what's going on around this, and of course, jump over to Breitbart to check out the laundry list of absolute insane activists having a meltdown over the perceived slight that Nintendo did against somebody that Nintendo didn't even have on their radar. But as all weirdos out there who are obsessed with fan fiction beyond normal circumstances, the reality that they shaped in their mind, boy, it really upsets them when the reality of the world does not fit that, which of course is why they push all of their nonsense and garbage. But once again, the real world is pushing back, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So we're taking this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all the juicy details of this casting as well as the reaction of all of the activists online. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2K. We're sailing our way towards 2,100, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does it surprise you at all that the activists out there on the internet have completely and totally lost their minds because their fantasy casting put out by a guy who literally has a 50-50 track record of being right was wrong? Or does this not surprise you in any way, shape, or form? Because, of course, they're going to do this kind of thing. Do you think their 9 and gnashing of teeth will get them anywhere at this point in the culture? Do you think they still hold any power? Do you think Nintendo will cave to this? Or do you think that Nintendo is going to completely ignore this, just like they do most online controversy? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Marvin Montanaro. Online discussions have heated up as gender activists expressed frustration following the casting reveal for Nintendo's live-action The Legend of Zelda movie scheduled for May 7th, 2027. Excuse me, boys and girls. The announcement named Bo Bragginson as Princess Zelda and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth as Link, putting an end to persistent rumors Hunter Schafer, a biological male who identifies as female, would play the role. These rumors, which started circulating in late May of 2025, were later exposed by That Park Place as originating from a PR firm associated with Schafer, not from an official source at Nintendo or Sony Pictures, which is why everything Daniel RPK says and Jeff Snyder over on the Hot Mic podcast, you should take with a giant grain of salt, because half the time they are nothing more than a mouthpiece for either a PR firm or one of the major Hollywood studios, which is why we go with CosmicBook.news and ThatParkPlace.com. Despite the debunking, activists have reacted strongly, viewing the decision as a failure to embrace alternative casting choices that they themselves would have preferred. but clearly the rest of the world does not. The speculation began with leaks from industry insider Daniel Richmond, Daniel RPK, suggesting safer. Fans created art and petitions, but reports soon clarified that the hype was manufactured by a PR agency connected to Schafer aimed at generating buzz. And Nintendo had honestly probably already made their decision by the time all of this happened, because if you see the pictures from the casting announcement, they're already in costume essentially for this whole thing. So gender activists have criticized the choice, arguing it overlooked Schafer's visual similarity to certain depictions of Zelda, such as in Twilight Princess. And remember, that's only certain depictions. Obviously, Link and Zelda have looked very different throughout all the different types of games, whether it be an art style change, a graphics limitations, or any of the just kind of general wanting to change the look at things. So needless to say, there isn't one distinct look, especially for Princess Zelda over the years. Some see this as Hollywood avoiding risks, which is a wise decision considering they're pretty much broke, while others point out the rumor's artificial origins as reason enough for dismissal. Commenters has highlighted how the false narrative fueled unnecessary division, with initial opposition to Schafer giving way to complaints about exclusion once the rumor proved unfounded. Articles have described the situation as botched opportunity, though skeptics attribute the backlash to overreaction or even planted publicity, which is what most likely it sounds like. And that's all this is to drum up a bunch of nonsense, drum up a bunch of garbage to try to use their online social media presence to force a decision on a company that not only would be detrimental to their financial and bottom line, but would also be something that they would not consider with their traditional values in most cases. And honestly, especially when it comes to Nintendo, they don't generally pay any attention to the online discourse. So guess what? All you weirdos, all you modern audience folks, they were never listening to you to begin with, which is exactly why you've lost. On X, the responses including hashtags like #NotMyZelda, with users venting disappointment. Below are specific examples from activists and fans expressing frustration, and that's where we're going to jump over to the Breitbart article. But before we do that and make fun of all of these little weirdos out there that are having absolute meltdowns out there, just remember what's going to happen when this movie comes out. The #NotMyZelda is going to trend again. There are a lot of activists are out there. They're going to be screaming all over the place. They're going to be trying to downvote and comment the trailers and do all kinds of other nonsense, even though they've never been able to successfully do that ever. But they're going to try. They're going to scream about it all over. There are going to be articles written about it by a lot of the activist organizations out there. They are going to try to do a protest. They are going to try to make this movie fail at the box office. And you know what's going to happen? The exact same thing that happened with Hogwarts Legacy. The majority of the audience, the majority of the fans out there are going to completely and totally ignore all of their screams, ignore all of their gnashing of teeth, and they're going to go see this movie, and they're going to have a really great time, and this movie is going to end up making $1 billion at the box office, just like Hogwarts Legacy became the #1 selling game of the year. That's what's going to happen. But it's not going to stop them being screaming. It's not going to stop them talking about this nonstop, and guess what? It's not going to stop us making fun of them either, because the one thing, the devil, and that's where the spirit of the age comes from, the one thing the devil hates more than anything else in the world is to be mocked and ridiculed. So we're going to mock and ridicule his agents just as they deserve to be. Because as you can see over here from Breitbart.com, trans mob blasts Nintendo for casting a woman to star in the Legend of Zelda movie. I know, strange concept. And I mean, look at this girl. She's pretty. She's a cute girl. She's going to play a great Zelda, and she's got the eyes to match. I mean, look at that smile. How could you not want her as Princess Zelda? Well, because she doesn't have a particular piece of equipment hanging between her legs, apparently the activists don't want her there. So obviously we can see from the casting, they've done a great job making her much more blonde, giving her that kind of look. Honestly, kind of gives me some Ocarina of Time kind of vibes, which I'm totally down for. And same thing with our dear sweet Link. I'm totally good with all of this. But of course, the activists are not. Here's from Queen, Trans Truther 70. Wow, I wonder what this person's all about. What do you want to bet they got pronouns in their bio? This person says here, I'll never forgive them for not casting Hunter. Imagine caving into incels that are suffering from the male loneliness epidemic. Oh, you mean like me, the guy that's married and has 6 kids? Yeah, we're really suffering from all of that. I know. We're just living such unfortunate lives while we're all happy and having babies and having a good time around here. I know. And this is the other part too, because this is where you know it comes from a false premise, right? Because the Hunter Schafer thing was just a rumor made up by her own PR firm. Nintendo was never considering him for the role. So that's the funny part. This is why their people are trapped in their own mental delusions. That's why they're insane. That's why we say they're possessed by the spirit of the age. Here's another one. We needed Hunter Schafer as Zelda. For people who say Zelda isn't a man, Hunter's a woman, and Zelda is not human too. She also needs to be a Hylian actor. Hunter is not a woman. Hunter's passport proves that they are biologically a male. They can do whatever kind of facial reconstruction surgery they want to do, right? They can dress however they want to do. They can grow their hair out as long as they want. But at the end of the day, when Hunter Schafer is buried in the ground, and if an archaeologist digs them up in 300 years, they're going to take one look at Hunter Schafer's hip structure and go, that's a man. So yes, Princess Zelda is female. Hunter Schafer is not. We got robbed. And the bigots can breathe a sigh of relief. Oh, yes. Yes, we can. But those bigots never believed the BS rumor to begin with, because nobody, I don't think, any logical common sense person would ever think that Nintendo could possibly be this stupid. Until adult Zelda has announced that is... Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But you know what? Keep holding on to your delusion. Apparently that's what gets you through every single day. These delusions that men can become women and women can become men. Yeah, delusions. Now that the aunties, who weren't even planning on seeing the damn thing, can stop complaining. Oh, really? Who do you think made the Mario Brothers movie a $1 billion box office? Because if any of you freaks out there could actually turn something into a profitable product of any kind, all of the Marvel toys, all of the MCU toys wouldn't be currently sitting at the Ollie's bin. The Marvels would have been the #1 movie of the year. Instead, it cost Disney Marvel hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. So yeah, explain to me who actually shows up to these movies after all. They had a chance to make a 100% perfect casting decision with Hunter Schafer and screwed that up somehow. Yeah, because they actually wanted a chick to play the role. I know, strange concept. This is not Zelda at all. She looks nothing like Zelda. Hunter Schafer is who we want. Bo can be the Lon girl. Oh, yeah. You mean the one actually everybody was crushing on back in the Ocarina of Time days? Yeah. So cry some more that your fan fiction didn't work out for you in whatever shape, in any way, shape, or form. Despite the claims of activists, neither video game character is canonically LGBTQ alphabet soup nonsense character. Zelda was always female, and Link was always a male. And Nintendo has never entertained the gay community's proclamations that these cartoon characters are transgender, as Nintendo should not, nor shall they ever. And so scream and gnash your teeth all you want. Because just like we proved with Hogwarts Legacy, just like we proved with Deadpool and Wolverine, and just like you proved with the Marvels and Concord, no matter how much you scream, no matter how much you whine on the internet, your opinion does not matter. So whine, cry some more, all you want, because guess what? At the end of the day, this lovely young lady here, this godly created being, this born female by God, born that way, is your new Princess Zelda, and not the mentally delusioned, possessed by the spirit of the age, culturally influenced madman Hunter Schafer. Hunter Schafer can do whatever they want to their body. They're a grown adult. The person they will answer to is not me for those decisions. It is their God. It is the God that rules over all. It is the God that made Hunter Schafer a biological man. It is God who shaped Hunter Schafer in his mother's womb before anyone else even knew him, that will judge his fate and will judge the decisions he's made in this world. And guess what? Nintendo is not going to put up with your delusions either. They don't make any sense in reality, and the backlash that it would have caused to cast a male as Princess Zelda would have cost them far more than all of you weirdos out there on the internet screaming and gnashing your teeth. How many times do we have to prove to you over and over and over again that you have no power and you never have? People used to stay silent because they feared your mob. And now they have found out the emperor has no clothes because Disney, Marvel, and every other activist nonsense, politically charged, woke piece of garbage out there has lost billions of dollars for every single industry that has decided to get involved with that garbage and produce stuff according to your will and your master, Lucifer himself's will. And guess what? At the end of the day, God always wins. The truth wins out. 2 + 2 is still equal 4. Males are males and girls are girls. Hunter Schafer is a man, and Nintendo cast a biological female as Princess Zelda, and that will never change. So cry some more, you weirdo activists, because at the end of the day, you were never truly fans to begin with. You only wanted to use Nintendo and Princess Zelda as a skin suit to push your own personal agenda. And Nintendo and the fans, the audiences, and the culture as a whole has rejected you. Pray for forgiveness, because the rest of us want nothing to do with you, and that includes Nintendo. I, for one, cannot wait for the Legend of Zelda movie, and it's going to make $1 billion at the box office despite all of the activists crying, and once again proving they're getting exactly what we deserve. And by the blessings of God, so are the fans.